The screen went black. Not the normal movie black. Not the quiet kind. This was the kind of black that felt wrong. The words, "Five Nights at Freddy's 2, only in cinemas December 18th, were still glowing on the huge theater screen when the screaming started. A child dropped their popcorn. Someone laughed, thinking it was part of the movie. Then the lights flickered once, twice, and the laughter stopped. Because Freddy Fazbear's eyes on the screen turned. They looked straight out of the movie. Straight at the audience. And then Freddy smiled. Not the cartoon smile everyone expected. A real one. Wide. Slow. Watching. The doors of Theater 7 slammed shut by themselves. The projector kept running, even though the movie had ended. And a deep metal voice echoed through the room. "Welcome back." Mike froze in his seat, his heart beating so loud he could hear it in his ears. This wasn't in the trailer. This wasn't in the ads. This wasn't supposed to happen. The screen flickered again, and Freddy leaned closer, filling the entire wall. "Let's play one more night." The lights went out completely. And someone screamed Mike's name. Earlier that day, everything had felt normal. Mike Turner was 12 years old, lived in Ohio, and had been waiting for this movie all year. Everyone at school was talking about it. Posters were everywhere. Online ads said the same thing over and over. Five Nights at Freddy's 2, only in cinemas December 18th. No streaming. No phones. No staying home. You had to be there. Mike loved scary games, but movies were different. They felt bigger. Louder. More real. His best friend Jake said the first movie wasn't that scary. Mike didn't believe him. That afternoon, Mike stood in his room pulling on his hoodie while his mom shouted from downstairs. "Don't forget your jacket! It's cold!" "I know!" Mike yelled back. His phone buzzed. "Jake, outside. Hurry up." Mike grabbed his backpack, even though he didn't need it, and ran downstairs. His mom smiled when she saw how excited he looked. "You're sure you're okay with a scary movie?" she asked. Mike nodded fast. "It's rated for kids. Mostly." She raised an eyebrow but handed him some money. "Call me when it's over." "I will." Mike stepped outside and saw Jake bouncing on the sidewalk, already holding a giant soda cup. "You ready?" Jake said. "I heard this one is way darker." Mike felt a tiny shiver. "You said that last time." They walked together toward the bus stop, talking about animatronics, secret endings, and rumors they had seen online. One rumor said the movie had hidden scenes only shown in theaters. Another said the movie used real old parts from a closed pizzeria. Jake laughed at that one. "Yeah, right. That place burned down years ago." Mike didn't laugh. He remembered reading something else. A comment buried deep in a forum. "If you hear them talking back, leave." The bus ride felt longer than usual. Outside, the sky was gray, heavy with clouds. When they finally reached the mall, the movie theater lights shone bright, glowing like a promise. Inside, the place was packed. Kids. Teens. Parents. Workers in red shirts tearing tickets. Huge posters of Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy covered the walls. Their eyes seemed to follow people as they walked by. Mike told himself he was imagining it. They bought popcorn, candy, and sat near the middle of Theater 7. The room smelled like butter and soda. The screen showed ads and trailers. Everything felt safe. Normal. Then Mike noticed something strange. The workers didn't come inside to check the theater like they usually did. No one walked the aisles. The exit doors were shut tight. "Hey," Mike whispered. "Don't they usually leave one door open?" Jake shrugged. "Probably just crowded." The lights dimmed. The movie started. At first, it was just like everyone expected. New night guard. New rules. Old building. Creepy music. People laughed. People jumped. Mike felt scared, but in a fun way. Then about halfway through, something odd happened. The sound changed. Not in the movie. In the theater. A soft clicking noise echoed from behind the walls. Like metal tapping metal. Mike leaned toward Jake. "Do you hear that?" Jake nodded slowly. "Yeah." On the screen, Freddy turned his head suddenly, as if reacting to the same sound. A few people laughed nervously. The clicking grew louder. The movie kept playing, but the sound felt wrong now. Deeper. Heavier. Mike noticed the temperature dropping. His breath felt cold. Then the screen glitched. Just for a second. A frame flashed that wasn't part of the movie. A dark hallway. Security cameras. A red recording light blinking. The movie snapped back to normal. Mike's stomach twisted. That wasn't special effects. That looked real. He scanned the room. Other people noticed too. A woman whispered to her husband. A kid a few rows down started crying. Jake leaned close. "Okay, this is new." The movie reached its final scene. The guard was running. Doors slammed. Alarms blared. Then the screen cut to black. Everyone clapped. Relieved. The words appeared. Five Nights at Freddy's 2, only in cinemas December 18th. That's when the screaming started. The doors slammed shut. The lights flickered and died. And Freddy smiled at them from the screen. Back in the present, Mike couldn't see anything. The darkness was thick. The clicking sound returned, louder now, closer. Someone near the front yelled, "This isn't funny!" The metal voice echoed again. 5 nights. 1 theater. Red emergency lights blinked on, casting long shadows across the walls. And in those shadows, something moved. Mike grabbed Jake's arm. The screen came back to life, showing the security office from the movie. A timer appeared. 12 a.m. The voice spoke again. "Night 1 begins now." Behind Mike, something heavy took a step forward. And the doors began to unlock, one by one. The timer on the screen started ticking. 12:01 a.m. Every second sounded louder than the last. Mike's hands were shaking as he held onto Jake's sleeve. The red emergency lights barely lit the room, making everyone's faces look pale and strange. Shadows stretched across the walls like long fingers. Someone tried the exit door. It didn't open. A loud bang echoed as a grown man slammed his shoulder into it. The door didn't move. "This is illegal!" a woman shouted. "Open the doors!" No one answered. The screen changed. A camera view appeared, just like in the game. The angle showed the snack counter outside the theater. The popcorn machine was still on, spilling popcorn onto the floor. Then something moved behind it. The crowd gasped. A tall shape stepped into view. Bonnie. Not a costume. Not a cartoon. Bonnie's eyes glowed white as he stared straight into the camera. A kid screamed. Someone dropped to the floor, crying. "This is a prank," Jake whispered, but his voice didn't sound sure. "It has to be." The metal voice returned, calm and slow. "Rules are simple. Stay in your seats. Watch the cameras. Survive until morning." The screen split into 4 camera views. Hallways. Storage rooms. A dark kitchen. Freddy was missing. Mike's heart jumped. "Where's Freddy?" Like the movie heard him, the lights flickered. Freddy appeared on the screen, standing right outside Theater 7. Not on camera. On the screen itself. He raised his paw. Then the pounding started. Boom. 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 The theater doors shook as something hit them from the outside. People screamed and pushed back toward the seats. Some climbed over chairs. Others hid under them. "Everyone stay calm," a man yelled, but his voice broke halfway through. The pounding stopped. Silence filled the room. Then a soft laugh echoed from the speakers. "Too slow," the voice said. The camera feed switched. The hallway camera went dark. Then static. Then Foxy's face filled the screen, teeth sharp, eyes wild. He ran straight at the camera. The screen cut to black. The emergency lights flickered again, and something moved at the far end of the theater. Mike saw it. A shape between the rows. Tall. Metal. Breathing. Click. Clack. Click. Clack. Jake! Mike whispered, tears burning his eyes. There's something here. Jake slowly turned his head. Behind them, between row K and row L, Chica stepped into the red light. Her beak opened slightly. She smelled the air. Then she took a step forward. Everyone ran. The room exploded into chaos. People screamed, tripped, fell over seats. Popcorn flew everywhere. Someone pulled a fire extinguisher from the wall and sprayed it blindly. Chica shrieked, a loud broken sound that made Mike's ears hurt. Mike grabbed Jake's hand and ran down the aisle. They ducked behind the front rows, hearts pounding. Chica moved slowly, her metal feet crushing popcorn under her weight. Stay quiet, Jake whispered. Mike covered his mouth. He could hear Chica's servos whining as she turned her head, listening. Suddenly, Freddy's face appeared on the screen again. Bad hiding, he said. The lights went out. Something grabbed Mike's ankle. He screamed. Jake pulled him hard, and Mike slipped free just as metal fingers snapped shut where his foot had been. They crawled behind the screen wall, finding a small door left open. A maintenance hallway. They squeezed inside just as Chica roared behind them. The door slammed shut. Darkness. Mike and Jake leaned against the wall, breathing hard. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the hallway lights flickered on. The walls were lined with old posters. Old Freddy Fazbear's Pizza posters. Real ones? This isn't part of the theater, Mike said. Jake shook his head. No way. A sign hung crooked on the wall. Employees only, security access. A camera blinked red above them. The metal voice returned, closer now. Good choice. You found backstage. A door at the end of the hallway slowly opened. Inside was a small security office. Monitors. Buttons. A chair. Just like the game. On the desk sat a phone. It rang. Mike stared at it, frozen. Answer it, Jake said softly. What choice do we have? Mike picked it up. A man's tired voice spoke. If you're hearing this, you're still alive. That's good. Listen carefully. This theater was built over the old place. They didn't remove everything. What old place? Mike asked. The line crackled. Freddy's, the man said. And they don't like crowds. A loud crash echoed behind them. The hallway door dented inward. Bonnie's shadow filled the frosted glass. The monitors flickered. The timer changed. 2 a.m. The phone went dead. And the office lights shut off as the door began to break open. The door cracked open with a loud snap. Metal fingers pushed through the broken frame, peeling it back like paper. Bonnie's face appeared in the darkness, one glowing eye staring straight at Mike. Mike screamed. Jake slammed the door button on the desk without thinking. The metal doors dropped just in time, stopping Bonnie inches away. Sparks flew. Bonnie slammed into the door again and again, shaking the walls. Mike collapsed into the chair, shaking from head to toe. We're going to die, he whispered. No, Jake said, forcing his voice to stay steady. We're not. The monitors flickered back on. Cameras showed the theater in ruins. Seats overturned. Popcorn everywhere. People hiding, crying, whispering. Freddy stood on the stage now, bow tie crooked, head tilted as if listening. The metal voice returned, but this time it sounded closer. More angry. Rules were broken. The lights in the office dimmed. Mike wiped his eyes and looked at the controls. Doors. Lights. Cameras. Just like the game. Just like all the nights people played and laughed about. But this wasn't a game. Jake, Mike said slowly. We have to make it to morning. That's what the voice said. Jake nodded. Then we survive. Bonnie stopped hitting the door. Too quiet. The camera switched. Bonnie was gone. Mike's heart sank. Where did he go? The kitchen camera went black. The vents camera flickered on. Something crawled inside them. Chica's beak scraped against metal, sending a horrible screech through the speakers. Mike hit the light button. The vent lit up. Chica froze, inches from the camera, eyes wide and unblinking. She backed away slowly. Mike breathed out. Then Foxy appeared on the main hall camera. Running. Fast. The power meter dropped. No, 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 Jake muttered. We're running out. Freddy's face filled the screen again. You're learning, he said. But not fast enough. The timer changed. 5:30 a.m. Almost morning. The office lights flickered wildly. The doors slammed shut by themselves. Every monitor went to static. The temperature dropped so low Mike could see his breath. Then, silence. No clicking. No laughing. Nothing. The lights slowly came back on. The office door creaked open. The hallway was empty. Mike and Jake stepped out carefully, hearts racing. They walked back into Theater 7. The animatronics were gone. People slowly stood up, confused, scared, alive. The screen turned on one last time. Freddy stood in the dark. Thank you for watching, he said. The timer hit 6 a.m. The doors burst open. Morning light flooded the theater. Police sirens screamed outside. Parents ran in, crying, hugging their kids. Mike's mom grabbed him so tight he could barely breathe. What happened? She cried. Mike looked back at the screen. It was blank. Just a normal movie screen. Jake whispered. Did anyone else see them? Mike nodded slowly. As they were led outside, Mike noticed something carved into the theater wall near the exit. 4 tall shapes. 1 small one. And words scratched deep into the metal. Only in cinemas. Across the street, a new poster was already going up. 5 Nights at Freddy's 3, coming soon. Freddy's eyes on the poster looked straight at Mike. And this time, they blinked.